Welcome to the Marysville School District Instructional Technology Training on Video Engagement. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Melissa Dilling, Instructional Technology TOSA. Let's go ahead and get started right away. So first things first, we have a couple learning targets we're going to go over. Number one, by the end of this, you're going to understand the steps of how to integrate video in your classroom with kind of some backwards planning and some pre-thinking that can be done for the purpose of using video. We're also going to look at screen recording as a way to communicate message with students using dictation, closed captions, music, and annotation tools. I'm hoping by the end of this, you'll be able to use a video platform of your choice to share videos and also use embedded questions to enrich the learning environment and check for understanding with your students. All right, so we're going to look at how to make videos most effective for learning.
Instructional videos are powerful tools to enhance student learning at home. They allow students to learn at their own pace and free up time for teachers to support students individually. But too often, they lose their effectiveness because educators make common mistakes. Research has found that videos are often too long, too confusing, too unengaging. Avoid common pitfalls by following these 5 tips. The longer the video, the less likely students will pay attention. Research shows students start tuning out after about 6 minutes. Instead of having one long video, think about breaking a lesson into short segments. Too much text on screen can overwhelm students. Instead, use visual cues like arrows to indicate key concepts and diagrams to help explain ideas. Students learn less when they listen passively. Throughout the video, encourage students to reflect and take notes. Check for understanding by incorporating questions and short quizzes. Organize your video into chapters. That way, students can find a section quickly when reviewing materials. Students will be more engaged if the video feels authentic. Use a casual tone and speak encouragingly. And remember to just be yourself. Make students feel like they are in your classroom.
All right, so I'm thinking back to that video. Those are some great tips when you actually have a video to keep in mind. But there is a thinking process of how to incorporate video that can be broken down into these 5 steps. And these 5 steps come from this article in Edutopia, which will be provided kind of at the end of this section if you'd like to do some more reading on this. But we like to suggest, if you're going to implement video into your classroom, that you first determine the purpose. What is the reason for using video instead of another resource? So we've kind of broken it down into 3 ideas. Of course, there might be more, but first would be to build background knowledge on a topic. And if it's the case that you're trying to build background knowledge, the best thing to do is look and see if there's some content already created that can help you. So this could be YouTube, maybe a content or curriculum video series site, or some kind of virtual tour that might already be out there. Another idea is that you might want to enrich a text, a book, an article, an excerpt that you're going to be reading, and you want students to kind of have some better understanding of the concepts. Then there's kind of the same idea where you might want to look first and see if something's already been done or if there's some video out there that can help with that. So Pixels is a site that has free curated video on a variety of topics, so you might want to check there first. Of course, YouTube and maybe looking for some recorded read-alouds. So maybe someone else could read it and then you could do some things as well. But the final one might be deepening or solidifying students' learning kind of along the way. And this is where our Screencastify and EdPuzzle, these are all screen recording with the ability to add interactive questions. This can be kind of another purpose, is we want to make sure students are learning along the way, not just build their knowledge or enhance something we're going to be reading. So the best thing to do is determine your purpose before choosing the video or creation tool, because different purposes may need kind of a different clip, and these then you can decide, do I need to find something or create it myself? Now, the second thing to do is be selective. A clip can have a big impact, so you'll want to pick the most dynamic parts for the storytelling. Now, for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and escape out of this so you can see my Google Slides. If you find a longer clip so that you don't have to create it yourself, so this is just an example from Finding Nemo, I can insert video clips into a Google slide, and I can simply use a YouTube link. I don't have to actually own that video. Now, what you may not know is when you click on a video, you get formatting options, and you have the ability to indicate exactly what you want to be shown. So in this case, I'm having this 2-minute and 38-second clip only go from 2-minute 22 to 2:38. So in that case, I can make it really dynamic, and that I can play either when it's a click, I can have it play automatically, but just know that you do have some other settings so that you can get a really selective clip. And I'll go ahead and show you this one and show you why we made it nice and small. All right, so we just get to the point where Nemo says help, and maybe that might be a starting point for you and your students. But in selecting just that little 16-second clip, I was able to take a much longer item and maybe embed it in a Google slideshow. And now I can focus on the learning or the concept or the theme. So being really selective is a good choice as well when you're choosing video. Now, step 3 is it can be really important to provide students with a mission. So how can we make sure that they're actively watching? Well, we tell them while they're watching. So this is just an example. You could just go ahead and make an actual Google slide. Maybe that original clip that you had, you'd want to put in here. In fact, you can see it right here in this example. But maybe you project something like this up on the screen. Today we'll watch a video, and I'm giving them a mission. So maybe our mission is about whether we should help others, and consider whether we should always help someone in need. And maybe even tell them their purpose. So the purpose here is that we're trying to find some connection knowledge, right? So we're trying to deepen that understanding of this larger theme. So that's just one idea of how you could provide that mission. You could also just tell students, but having it very visual so they're really kind of hooking onto one thing to think about, this mission for watching, then they'll have a better way to understand why, the why. Now, number 4 is something we do here in these classes, and that's having some time to pause and ponder and often write about what we're thinking. So this is giving students time to reflect by actually pausing the clip. As it was mentioned in the Edutopia video, having students take too many notes during the video itself, they often will lose information. So don't be afraid to pause in the middle and let them write. So one idea for this was to provide students with a shared document and a table, and this way all students could record their information in the same place, and it makes their learning really visual. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on this, and you'll get a chance to have a copy if this is something you would like as well. But notice, let's say, for example, we were talking about this concept of should we help someone in need? Maybe we're talking about citizenship. I would actually, if it were me, I would write that same mission I shared. I may even highlight what our purpose is here. So as it was on the other page, I could just change the color, or I could highlight. I chose the wrong button, my apologies. That we're trying to make connections. This document, if I clicked share, and I would copy the link, I want to first make sure that I have, that it says anyone in Marysville School District can be an editor. That would mean your students could get in. Then I could even share the link up here in the progress bar here, or I could come down and say copy link. So that's something you could put in a Google Classroom. You could make it a clever button for our younger students. And then when students arrive, you would ask them to find a box and kind of reflect in the box their thinking. They might even write their name in the box too, to kind of claim that as their own space. And then they could answer this question based on the video clip. So just one idea of how you could have students record their learning during a video, and they wouldn't even need a piece of paper and a pencil. But this also is a space to reflect while encouraging the shared use of a digital space. And that's part of teaching students kind of that digital citizenship of being respectful when we're in the digital world. Step 5 would be to let them read and watch with closed captioning. So if you're showing a YouTube clip, most of them have this little CC button. And if you were to click that on while the video was playing, students could be reading along. This is great for our English language learners, but it can also be great for any student who really enjoys reading it and maybe auditory processing is difficult. Now, I'm going to again get out of my slideshow and show you that even if I was in a Google Slides presentation, this is whether I'm talking or if I'm showing some sort of audio clip. Whoops, let's go back to this really quick. And we're going to, okay, so down here at the bottom, while I'm presenting, hopefully you can see this okay, if I click on the 3 dots in the lower left corner, I have something that says Caption Preferences. If I click the very top button, I'm turning closed captioning on, and as you can see below the screen, you are seeing what I'm saying appear. So if we have some sort of audio clip playing or I'm talking, I like to turn this on no matter when I'm using Google Slides because it almost creates kind of that idea of a video where I can follow along with my eyes reading, but also while I'm listening and watching. And if I want to turn it off, 3 dots, closed captioning, I just click that button again. You notice there is a shortcut, Control-Shift-C will turn it on and off. So closed captioning if you can on video, but also with Google Slides, it is possible. All right, so I hear some music playing in the background, and I'd like us to just take a moment and reflect. So we have been talking a lot about these 5 ways to get video into our lessons, right? And the process we need to think about. But before we do that, I am curious, have you ever used a screen recorder before? Any kind of screen recorder that records you talking on your screen or moving your screen around? And what purpose did it serve? Or if you have not screen recorded before, what do you wish you could have recorded for your students to help them with learning? And this could all the way be back to like the pandemic when we were at home. What do you wish you could have recorded? Now I put some ideas up here on the left. Maybe these apply to you, but just to kind of get your thinking of where you may have done this before. So go ahead and give us a quick reflection, and then we're going to talk about all our different options for making our own videos if we can't find something online. Okay, we're now going to take a look at Screencastify. Screencastify is probably one of the most popular video recording, screen recording programs out there because it is an extension, which means it can be added to your Google Chrome bar. In fact, I have it right here. The district actually pays for you to have a license. If you don't have a license, you're limited to a 5-minute video. And because we have a license, you can do much longer than that. And then we also have some editing capabilities. So you're either going to be a yes or a no. If you're a yes, I'm going to ask that you go to your Google Drive and look and see what's in your Screencastify folder already. Because Screencastify, when you load it and you make things, it automatically saves to a folder called Screencastify. So if you don't see this little red arrow up here, that doesn't necessarily mean you don't have it. It might be under your extensions, and you may just need to find it in your list and click the little pin, and then it will show there. So everyone should check first if you have it and pin it. Now, if you don't see it in your list at all, you go all the way to the bottom. You are going to watch this video that I'll put in a note off to the side of this lesson, and it's going to show you how to install it. For those of you that do have it though, I do want you to jump in that Screencastify folder for just a minute. And I'd like you to 2-finger tap on a Mac or right click if you have a mouse, and you'll get a bunch of options. Some of your videos might be labeled untitled. A lot of mine are because I just forget to give them a name. Or if there's videos that are really old that you're not going to use, you might want to spend some time either removing them or renaming them. So go ahead and see if you have anything in there. If you have nothing in there, that's fine. You can come on back here and we're going to learn how to put something in there. Those of you that need to install it, please do that now. And then join me back here and we're going to get started. Now that we have Screencastify, we're going to look at some of the new tools that if you haven't done a screencast in a while using Screencastify, these may be new. And I'm going to specifically ask you to focus on the drawing tools, the ability to edit your video, and also adding interactive embedded questions. So let's just see what they have to say.
Welcome to Screencastify, the easiest solution to create and share videos. And now, assess student learning. We'll get you started in seconds, and it's all available free. Start by clicking on the Screencastify extension in Google Chrome. Choose whether you'd like to record a specific browser tab, your whole desktop, or just your webcam. Then hit record and start your video. While you're recording, you can focus viewer attention with the pen tool, highlight ideas with a rectangle, or add stickers. When you're done, just hit the stop button. A new browser tab opens to manage your video. To start editing, click Open in Editor. Screencastify Edit allows you to customize your recording, cut, crop, zoom, add text, and more. Once you've created your video, it's time to make it interactive. Add questions to assess a viewer's comprehension. Move your cursor to the point in the video where you'd like to add a question. Customize it, and it's automatically embedded in the video. And when you share a video with the watch page, you can view analytics. See how many people watched your video and how they performed on your questions. With Screencastify, it's easy to create, share, and assess. It's everything you need to make instructional videos, all in one place.
All right, so special thanks to Screencastify. They did such a good job. I thought I'd let them show you. So I'm going to ask that you pause and reflect. Take a moment to try making a video, even if you've done it before. And again, I want you to try some drawing tools while you're talking and instructing. I'd love for you to say edit video and try some of maybe the zoom tools or the adding text. And then if you can, let's try those interactive questions. At the moment, it has the ability for multiple choice questions, or you can do true false if you just have 2 answers instead of all 4. But your job is just to play around with them and then come on back here when you feel comfortable with the tools, and we'll talk about more ideas for using Screencastify. I'm going to share 2 YouTube clips with you. One is this video to rewatch. This other YouTube video is a longer version that goes into much more detail if you feel like that would be helpful. Now that you're comfortable with Screencastify's tools, one idea for creating kind of a video type assignment is to use Screencastify for direction narration. So while things aren't necessarily moving on the screen, this is still considered kind of a screen recording that could be really helpful to students. And as you're watching this, I want you to think how might that you use this idea to dictate an assignment in your personal classroom curriculum, and where might you think about posting these directions that they're using. So let's just watch and get some ideas from them about direction narration.
Creating video-based assignment directions is perfect. It allows students to be able to pause, replay, and rewatch your directions. The good news is that doing that with Screencastify Record is incredibly easy. You'll start by pulling up the assignment that you'd like to narrate over, whether that assignment is on Google Docs, Google Slides, or anywhere on the internet. Then you'll go over to the Screencastify Record extension and decide what type of video you'd like to create. You'll probably want to include your microphone so that students can hear you. You also can include your webcam so that students can see you. And under Show More options, you may want to enable your drawing tools so that you can annotate over screen to show students the most important parts of the assignment. Once you're ready to go, you can go ahead and press record. Now, you've got the opportunity to show students anything that you want, like underlining important vocabulary words, or even pointing out crucial steps that might often be missed. Once you're ready to go and you have your assignments, you can go ahead and press stop to end your recording. On the video management page, you can even do more by editing your video, including a few comprehension questions, and seeing who has viewed your video after you've completed it. This is the way to supercharge video-based direction.
Okay, so take a moment and reflect on the question. How might you use this idea in your own classroom? You can talk about a specific assignment. And where would you post them? Google Classroom, Clever, Gmail, a website. Maybe you're using some sort of Google site, but think about that, reflect, and then come on back to join us for another idea of how to use Screencastify. So embedding questions and also dictating over assignments of some kind is not the only thing Screencastify can do. So Screencastify is also great with Google slide presentation. And we're going to watch this video, and then I'll talk to you more about how we can add music to spice up a screen recording. So music is playing in the background. But again, Screencastify is going to give us some tips about using Google Slides when we're screen recording.
There is a simple trick that allows you to use all of Screencastify's best features like annotation tools and a webcam preview still while recording a Google Slides presentation. And this video is going to show you how to do it. Keep in mind that this works for Google Slides, but not for PowerPoint or Keynote. This is a Google Slides specific trick. All right, so let's get into it. So the first thing you want to do is navigate to the Google Slides presentation you want to record, and then head on up to the Screencastify extension. Open it up and choose to make a browser tab recording. This will not work in a desktop recording, only a browser tab recording. And make sure you have your webcam embedded as well as are showing your drawing tools. Then go ahead and click record. Now, once your recording gets started, you'll see we have our webcam preview here, okay? And you can resize that, etc. You can also see your annotation tools here. But instead of just clicking present, what we're going to do is click the drop-down arrow here and choose presenter view. You can go ahead and close out this other window that opens. And you can see we are now viewing our slides, and we have our webcam preview and our annotation tools. And we can go ahead and navigate through the slides like we normally would. So here's my first slide I want to present, and I can now go and grab the annotation tools and draw on top of the slide. All right, once we are happy, we can get out of the slides here, and we can stop recording. Once your recording opens, you can go ahead and trim out all the beginning bit of you getting it all set up, so that really all your audience is going to see is the slideshow presentation with you talking and using annotation tools. And that's how you can use the best of Screencastify while showing a Google Slides presentation. Thank you for watching.
Okay, now the reason he did that is normally when you turn on Screencastify, if you're in a Google Slides presentation, you would just see your screen, and those your webcam and your animation tools would get stuck behind it. And so that's just a great way to get all three of those things in case you want to make something very interactive. But let's say I had a Google slideshow and I wanted music playing in the background, because music is just such a great motivator in setting this scene. Now, when I go up to a Google Slide, so let's just say that I want to put some music behind this, I would be choosing audio, not video, audio. And notice I don't have the ability to search on the web. I only have things in my drive, shared with me, or recent. Now, these are some things I made, and I'm going to show you how to get some audio that is free and is Creative Commons licensed, which means anyone can use it and you're not breaking any downloading rules, okay? So I'm going to take you to this site. It's called Free Music Archive, and below are the tips or the directions I'm going to show you. So you'll have those for your reference later, but I'm going to just show you as we go. So Free Music Archive, I've been using this for years with students to make their own student video projects. So it's great for that as well if students want to use this. But we have two here. Browse FMA is what you'd want to choose. And this says Creative Commons, which means they are free to download. And you can go ahead and agree to their privacy policy. It is totally fine. Now, when you arrive, there's so much in here that it would be hard to listen to every song. It looks like there's only these, but this is just the most recent things that have been updated. and uploaded. So I usually go to genres and I think to myself, okay, I'm going to do a screen recording. Maybe I want something kind of classy, or maybe it's kind of country, or I want it to feel old time. Maybe I'm going to be showing some video clips. If I click into these are not songs you would necessarily recognize, but they have been categorized in that genre. And then you'll want to just give a listen. And it might take a second to find what you like. That one's thinking for a minute. Let's see if we can get. That one's kind of fun. Let me see if I can just find one more that's a little. That's kind of a boogie woogie song. I love it. This down arrow right here will allow me to download it. Now, it is going to tell me that the song is for free, but you might want to read how they want you to give maybe some credit for it. So usually you'll just want to read this and it says you're free to share and copy. I can adapt it or I can remix it. But these are all labeled CC for Creative Commons, completely fine for you to use. Go ahead and say I understand. This is putting it on your computer. So if you're on your Mac, it's going to go in your downloads folder. I'm on my PC at home, so you can actually see it appear there. So I'm now downloading that song. It's now an MP3 file. It's a music file. And then if I wanted to insert audio, I would say insert audio. And it's not in my drive yet though, because it just lives on my computer. All right, so I got to go back one extra step, and that's I'm going to go to my Google Drive and put it there. So you can just find your Google Drive wherever that may be. And you may even want to make a new folder that says music, because sometimes you may want to reuse music in your screen recording. And so maybe you have just a place that you can upload it. So music's right here. And I'm actually going to 2-finger tap and change the color to blue just so I can see it, because my eyes don't love all these gray folders. So I'm going to open music. I'm going to right click and say upload file. And there's my boogie woogie song. And I selected it. Now I can easily navigate away, and now I'm actually ready to insert that audio. And here it is, and I can select. Okay, usually I just turn on sharing for whatever reason. I think it's good to have it. Now you'll get this little icon, and maybe you're saying to yourself, well, if I was going to make a video for my kids, I wouldn't want to have to press that button. And you're absolutely correct. I really like to have music just playing in the background. So this might be something that I might put on the very first slide. So I'm on slide 11. I probably wouldn't put it here. I'd probably put it on the first slide. And then when you click on it, you can make this any size you want if you want it out of the way, but you have this options button. And if I was going to play it as background music, I would uncheck stop on slide change. And I might say loop audio. So if it's a short clip, it'll just keep playing over and over again. It's not going to stop when I switch slides. And maybe I want it to start playing automatically. So that's a nice way to get that kind of that sound or that ambience into a slideshow that you're screen recording, and just add a little something to your presentation. Okay. And once I hit play, you can see that it's there. Okay, so feel free to pause the video and try it for yourself. And then once you've had a chance to see if you can insert audio just into even a blank presentation, you could go to Free Music Archive and play around a little. I'd love for you to join me back here. No need to reflect, but just please go try it. And then we'll learn some other things that Screencastify can do. This is actually one of my favorite ideas for Screencastify. It is creating a virtual field trip using Google Earth and then recording that kind of journey on Screencastify. So this video is about 7 minutes long. I'm going to show the whole thing just because I think it's good to see. Feel free to pause at any time and go try it along with them. And then at the very end, they'll kind of show you how what they create, they'll add to Screencastify.
With you how you can create your own virtual field trip simply by using Google Earth, and if you want to add Screencastify as well. So let's show you how this works. First step is going to Google Earth, which you'll visit at earth.google.com. Then what you'll do is you'll go right here where you see your projects. Project-wise, you can create your own virtual field trip by creating a project. Students can do this as well, and it saves automatically on Google Drive, which makes it great to collaborate with other people. I'm going to call this Untitled Project Where I Have Lived. And next what I'll do is I'll actually choose right down here a title slide. So I'm going to go to a full screen slide, and I'm going to say where I've lived. I'm going to add my name. And if I'd like, I can also add a link. Say, for instance, I have like my blog right here. I can add a link to that. I'll just hit OK, and voila. Now, by default, you have this slate gray. You can click on this link, by the way. You can change that simply by changing the colors down here, your own custom color, or even adding a picture. So now I'll hit this back arrow, so I have that title slide. Next thing that I'll do is I'm going to add a place, so I can search, or I can add my own place mark simply by doing this. I'm going to go ahead and choose Alliance, Ohio, and what it will come up is this card right up here to tell me a little bit more about Alliance, Ohio. I can always change this, which I really like about that. I'm going to hit Add to Project, and I'm going to hit Save. So the next thing that I might want to do is I actually might want to go back, and I might want to show maybe Mount Union College. Okay, so Mount Union College, Mount Union University is right here, and I can use Pegman to do that. So I can use Pegman and just drop Pegman. I'm just going to drag and drop, put them right about here so we can see the football stadium. So what happens is then you get this street level view of Mount Union University. Ooh, very cool. So I have this right here. I'm going to actually just stop right here. And I'm going to say, yeah, I really like this. So you can capture this view right here, and we can call it just outside of the football stadium. Okay, then I can hit save. Now, there's cool things that I can do with this is I can add pictures and videos. So this can be very helpful. If you want students to navigate this particular map on their own, this could be very helpful. So you can add your own images yourself, YouTube videos. I'm going to do Mount Union University. Okay, I have some pictures right here. I'll just go ahead and put a picture right there. It'll put it here as a thumbnail. I can even add videos if I want. And I can add that video. So this would be helpful if you want your students to be able to interact with this map on their own. You don't necessarily have to do that. So I'm going to show you two different options for sharing this with your students. If you wanted to add text, you could add text. I can go back, and now I have right here, just outside the football stadium, where I've lived. Okay. Other things you can do as well, if you would like, you can add your own pins to your own place marks. So let's say, for instance, right there, I wanted to put a place mark, and I'll just put down my house. I don't actually live there, but we'll just say that my house. Other things you can do as well is you can add or draw lines. So I can click right here, and then I'll just drag, and then click, and then just move my cursor over here. So if I wanted to draw out a path, I could do that. And then I just kind of enter or return, and I'll just call it my route. And then we'll just hit save. Okay, so now it's presentation time. What does this actually look like? Well, now I can go right here to present, and I have my title slide. I have right here Alliance, Ohio. We can go in and talk a little bit more about Alliance. I could zoom in and check this out. I'm going to zoom in to the just outside the football stadium. I can go through and navigate and hit play right here. I could watch this video if I'd like. I can click right here to go to the next part. And that is, I can see my house, my fictional house, and then right here it just shows the line that I created. If I need to go back, I can click on this table of contents and go back at any point. So, okay, so now how do you actually get this to students? So here's some presentation options for you. Option number one would be just sharing this map with students and just having them navigate it. And so if I want to do that, I can simply go right up here to the share project. And just like any Google slideshow presentation, I can go right here. I can change the link so that anyone can view, okay? And I can put this link in, say, Google Classroom. I can put it in Google doc, maybe I'm doing a hyperdoc, and I want students to go through and maybe see the different places of an author's life. There's a lot of different things you can do with that. That's one way. Another way would be combining Screencastify. So if you have younger students, this actually might be a better option for you. So I'm going to go right here and I'm going to present. Now, next, I'm going to go right here to Screencastify, and Screencastify allows you for free to record up to 5-minute presentations. I can also embed my webcam right here, so I'm going to record, and I'm just going to record just this browser, and I'm going to hit record. Now, what will happen is you'll see my picture right down here, and I can go through and I can use Screencastify to then give my tour of where I've lived. So I can actually go and I can click on this link, talk a little bit more about it. I can use some of the tools right here to just go ahead and highlight things. And it's a really great way of having students be able to hear your perspective on maybe historical sites, maybe you're talking about the settings in a book, things like that. And then when you're finished with this, what you would then do is you would actually hit stop. Okay, so once you hit stop, it uploads your video right here, and I'm just going to hit pause. And then you have some options for how you publish this. So you could publish this, you could publish it right to Google Classroom, or this right here is a link to it being saved automatically on Google Drive. So instead of having students navigate on their own, you could have a video like such that they could then watch, and then you could put this on Google Classroom and they could write about it. Or you could use, say, EdPuzzle and have different questions embedded in that. So there's a lot of different features that you can use, but making a virtual field trip is great because you can use this on any device.
All right, so take a moment to do two things. You could open Google Earth and play with some of those tools, but I'd also love you to pause and reflect what type of field trips might be useful to create as video assignments for your students. All right, now our wonderful friend in the last video mentioned EdPuzzle, and EdPuzzle is another great way to share these kind of assignments with students. And it kind of feels like Google Classroom, but it's for videos, and it's also a way that you can add some extra questions, some thinking that goes along. And the questions you can add are a little more sophisticated than what you can do with Screencastify. So I'm going to quickly show you how to create accounts, and then we're going to look at some of the tools, and hopefully by the time you leave, you'll have kind of two options for sharing. You'll have Screencastify, where you can share direct links, or you'll have an EdPuzzle classroom space where you could upload even your Screencastify videos to this space and then share. I will say this has no talking with it, so you'll be get to use your reading skills while it's showing you around. So let's see a little bit more about what is this thing called EdPuzzle. All right, so in the space provided here in this EdPuzzle course, actually, I'm going to go ahead and put a link to that YouTube video if you'd like to watch it a little slower. I'm going to ask that you make an EdPuzzle account, or if you think you already have one, go ahead and sign in as a teacher, and then we'll be doing some things with those EdPuzzles account in just a moment. All right, one of my favorite things about EdPuzzle is that I can grab my own Screencastify videos. Remember, we have that Screencastify folder in Google Drive where your videos live. And so we could get those into EdPuzzle, but there's also so much searching capabilities available on EdPuzzle. So again, no talking in this one, just words, but why don't you go ahead and just take a watch, and let's go ahead and see, how do I find videos that then I could share with students and add my own interactive questions or moments to pause and reflect into those assignments that I'm making in EdPuzzle? All right, so that was a lot to digest, but they mentioned going to the discovery section, looking for YouTube videos, maybe even searching some content from our schools. So I'm going to ask you to pause this right now and find a video. And when you click on a video, they mention copying it to your content, that My Content area. So go ahead and do that. And then we're going to talk about editing next. I do want to point out, and I'm going to click this link, you'll have this available at the end, as well as I'll put it throughout. But EdPuzzle has some amazing videos here that walk you through anything you would want to do. Today we're going to talk about just editing a video, but creating a class and assigning and inviting students takes about 2 minutes. These videos probably take longer than it actually takes to make them. So EdPuzzle is great if this is something that you find you might like. So head on over to EdPuzzle and see if you can't find a video. A YouTube video is fine. Copy it to your content and then come on back here and you will take a look at the editing tools available. So now that you have a video, hopefully shared in your My Content, and you've explored that EdPuzzle interactive site, let's look at, what do I do with a video? How do I edit it for students so it might be of use? Again, no talking in this one. It's going to give you a tour. And then, of course, I'm going to ask you to kind of go into a video and practice some of these tools. Okay, so your job is to pause this video, jump back over into EdPuzzle, open some content, and just play with those interactive questions buttons, play with the cut, maybe add some voiceover, and then save those changes. All right, so you do have this YouTube playlist if you'd like some more detailed information about sharing. So now that you've made a video and it has questions in it, how do I get it to students? And really you have two choices. You can create a course, just like a class, and share that link with students. Or you can share the actual, just a link directly to the video. And that is another way for them to get into it. So I'm gonna go show you live just real fast, but you will have this playlist if you would like more. Again, it goes through every little step of how to share if you'd like to go and see that. So let me switch to a different view for you. Okay, so if you're taking one of our courses, we're actually using EdPuzzle, so this might look very familiar to you. But I'm going to click on My Content. You see I have several videos in here, and then I have something that says My Classes, and we've called this PD Training. So really to create a course, you just hit the plus button, create a new class, give it a new name. You can give it a description. You can give it anything here that you like. If you choose the classic version of it, you'll see student progress as well as be able to give them feedback, and it will save students' place in an assignment. So my suggestion is the classic site is usually the best to go with. So now I have another course here. If I click on these three dots, this is where I can delete that class if I no longer need it. Now, I don't have any content in here for students. So if I click Add Content, it's going to look in this folder for what I can add. So my suggestion is make your videos, get them the way that you want them, and then put them in a course. So if I click Add Content, notice I have a bunch of different options here. I can upload a video, I can record a video right from here, I can find a student project, I can discover video content. So that's one way to get it in here. I can also go to My Content, and if I click on a video that I have created, of course now it's going to be slow. Let's see if I can click on one where it's a little quicker. I do have the ability to assign to a course. So it'll ask me, it'll look at all my courses, and I can assign it to more than one if I want to. So I would simply just check it and then say assign. And now that video assignment is in my demo class. So to share this demo class with students, I would simply say invite them, and I get a share link. And when they come here, they would see a whole list of videos. That's one option. Another option is, let's say if I'm in Google Classroom or Clever and I want them just to come directly to the assignment because maybe it's younger students, I can just share the assignment and copy the link. So that's just a real quick look at EdPuzzle. It's real easy to use if you play around with it, but I love it for its ability to embed questions and also just to have a lot of control over how I share that. And then the ability to see and track student progress in their answers, especially those open-ended answers. Just like here, the video does pause and make them give an answer. They can give audio responses if you would like. All right, so now that we're wrapping up just these kind of tips, tricks, and ideas for how to use Screencastify and EdPuzzle, I do hope you've kind of seen those steps of integration, of video integration come to light. Also how to use screen recording, to use dictation, closed captioning, music, and annotation tools to spice up any videos that we are creating ourselves. Hopefully you have a video platform to share videos. Either you'd like to share them out of Screencastify or EdPuzzle. Either work just fine for students and can be integrated with Clever and Google Classroom. And also you can see that both platforms now allow embedded questions to kind of enrich the learning environment and check for understanding. As always, we so appreciate you joining us in these courses. And if you could take a moment to fill out the forms below, you will need to fill out the evaluation form and the attendance form in order to get clock hours. Again, those will come to you in the spring, as these are all part of the same series and they'll come together. When you do fill out these forms, you should get a copy to your email as well. There is a copy of the Google slideshow, so if at any point in time you want to go back and rewatch one of these videos or have it as a reference, it is there for you. Have a great day and thanks for joining us.